Adriana Smith did not give birth. Adriana Smith did not give birth. Adriana couldn't give birth. Adriana was unalive. Adriana died in February 2025 because she didn't receive a life-saving medical procedure. Adriana was pronounced brain dead in February, but was kept alive for a further 114 days. 114 days. Why? Because Adriana was pregnant and the white man wanted to play God. Let's back up a bit. For me, and this isn't about me, but I find this difficult to share. It's harrowing, horrific, cruel, and downright racist. But I share it, and I must, even when it pains me, because it's much worse for Adriana's family, who had gone through a whole heap of fucking shit and continue to do so. This experiment is triggering, and is history repeating itself again and again, blatantly right in front of us now. And what are we going to do about it? Well, I'm writing and sharing it with you now as a start. In February this year, Adriana Smith, a 30-year-old nurse based in Atlanta, Georgia, went to hospital where she worked, went to her people complaining of an intense headache. No tests were run. Adriana was sent home with pain relief. The next morning, her boyfriend awoke to Adriana gurgling and struggling to breathe. Emergency services were called and Adriana was rushed to hospital. There, they finally carried out a CAT scan to establish that Adriana had blood clots on her brain. You have to ask, why wasn't this test carried out the day before in time to probably save her life? I'll tell you why. Because of racism and sexism within the medical institution that results in black people, black women in particular, not being listened to when we express pain. Apparently, black women don't feel pain. We have a higher pain threshold than anyone else. So if we're complaining about pain within our own bodies, we're lying. The pain is not that bad, so shut up and put up, the practice goes. We are not given the rightful respect of being experts in our own bodies and knowing that we are in pain, knowing that something is wrong. There's an article that will be linked so you can read more about that. But let me continue. So the hospital calls Adriana's mum to say they want to complete a procedure that will ease the pressure on Adriana's brain, and can they have her permission to do so? Of course, her mother agrees. This procedure will save her daughter's life. The hospital, Emory Hospital in the state of Georgia, called back not long afterwards to say they weren't going to bother with the procedure. They couldn't do it because Adriana was pregnant. Adriana was 8 weeks pregnant. I'm not sure if she knew she was pregnant or not before she went into hospital complaining of headaches. Adriana was pronounced brain dead soon after this. The doctors didn't give Adriana's family any choice. They put Adriana on a life support machine. This was against Adriana's wishes, as she had a do not resuscitate order, and was also against her family's wishes. The hospital did not have Adriana's or her family's consent to follow this course of action, but the hospital acted as if they did. They disrespected Adriana in life as well as in death, as they kept her alive on a ventilator, pumping her body with a cocktail of drugs, all in the name of saving the fetus. The hospital kept Adriana's body alive while she was brain dead, all in the name of the law, as they claimed that the law of the state would make it illegal to allow the baby to die within its mother. They claim it would be an illegal termination and they could be prosecuted. Therefore, they chose to go against the wishes of Adriana, taking away her personhood, her autonomy, bodily rights, reproductive rights, and even when she couldn't speak for herself, her family spoke up for her rights. They were all disallowed, dismissed, and Adriana was kept alive solely as a human incubator. The hospital in the state of Georgia cruelly used Adriana in a sick, warped medical experiment to find out what they needed to do in order to keep a baby alive till birth within a brain-dead body. This is not a medical breakthrough or revolutionary practice. This is blatant disregard and disrespect for a black mother's wishes, as Adriana already had a 7-year-old son. The state of Georgia used and abused Adriana for some sick experiment. And we must realize that it won't end here. The media states that Adriana gave birth, or that Adriana delivered a 32-week-old baby weighing 1 pound 13 ounces. A corpse. Not being disrespectful here, but a dead body cannot birth anyone or anything. Adriana could not push out her son, her baby boy, because she was dead. They say it was a C-section. It's a lie, as it was an autopsy. Adriana was given an autopsy and the baby was extracted from her dead body. This was only done on the 13th of June because Adriana's body was decaying. If not, no doubt they would have continued with this experiment. Adriana's body was decomposing because she was dead. She'd been dead for 4 months to this point of autopsy. I thought then they would turn the life support machine off straight after the extraction. But that was not the case. They kept Adriana on the ventilation machine for a further 4 days until the 17th of June, which happened to be her birthday. You're telling me the hospital didn't know that this was Adriana's birthday? Of course they did, and this, in my opinion, is just another sick, twisted fucking indication of their heartlessness and disregard for Adriana's family, as well as being a performance of power and control. Sanitize the language you use as much as you want. The hospital, Emory Hospital in the state of Georgia, did wrong, a major wrong, from allowing Adriana to die unnecessarily and then proceeding to keep her alive without her consent or her family's so they could try out this experiment, which was the extraction of a baby, is blatant proof of their concept. This does not end here. This is man, and it usually is man, trying to find a way to create life and bring into the world with women having little to no participation in the process. Through using and abusing Adriana, they have gathered their evidence on what they need to do to keep a baby alive to birth, with a woman just as an incubator. She does not need to be alive or give her consent. The clinician has all the power and the control. An experiment by the state of Georgia on a black woman's body, which is nothing new. The experimentation on black women's bodies has been going on for centuries. Just think of J. Marion Sims, the so-called father of gynecology, and his experimentation on enslaved women. This experiment on Adriana was to see how they can replace the woman in the process of creating and carrying life. How little participation from women do they need to bring about life? Be warned, as I wouldn't be surprised to hear of other brain-dead women turning up pregnant. Placing Adriana on life support to support a pregnancy from 8 weeks to 32 weeks is inhumane. This is using a black woman's body as an incubator and not respecting or treating Adriana as a human being with rights and wishes. The hospital used the law as an excuse to perform this monstrosity, but the Attorney General of Georgia came out months ago to say there was no such law that the fetus has to be kept alive if the mother is dead. The law states that the fetus dies when the mother dies. This is more proof that the hospital was running roughshod over another black mother's life, as didn't her 7-year-old son have to see his mother on the ventilation machines pumped full of drugs, not understanding what was going on, maybe thinking at some point his mother would wake up and come on home. What is this fuckery? And I haven't even said anything about the baby extracted from a dead body. Chance. They named him Chance, who is now in the NICU, weighs barely 2 pounds. What quality of life will this tortured baby have? His grandmother said he could be blind, might not be able to walk or talk or be mentally okay, and they will have to raise him. I can't even imagine what kind of life this child will have, as he's basically unknown territory. But I know he'll probably not have a peaceful life. If he survives, you can bet that he will be monitored and poked and prodded for the rest of his life to check if he's healthy and normal after he came about through their experiment. They're invested in Chance's life now, but not for good reasons. There was never any care for his mother, Adriana, and there'll never be any care there for Chance. This is disgusting and horrifying and makes me sick to my core, as well as angry, hence sharing it here with you now. But it gets worse. Adriana's family, who fought all this time to stop this experiment that was against their wishes as well as Adriana's, who have been going through the legal process to get the machine switched off so they could lay Adriana to rest, are now liable to pay all the hospital bills. I repeat, Adriana, who was brain dead and kept alive as an incubator against her and her family's wishes, her family now have to pay all these medical bills for this experiment. They did not ask for this. They did not consent to this. They fought against it. They are now being forced to pay for this. What is this kind of fuckery, man? This is blatant in their faces and in public, telling the world that the hospital, the state of Georgia, these non-black professionals do not care about black women, black people. They are not allowing Adriana to rest then and now, as it's all about control and power over the black woman's body, black people again and again. This is not about humanity and researching ways to keep life going. They stripped Adriana of her humanity a long time ago, right down to the very last breath of her body on her birthday. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. The family have set up a GoFundMe page to help them pay for the medical bills that they shouldn't have to pay for. The family should be receiving compensation for what they have lost and gone through, but this still wouldn't be enough and could never replace Adriana or what she and her family have gone through and continue to suffer. And this shit is not over yet. Adriana Smith. Say her name. Remember her name. Share her name. This experiment is going to change reproductive rights within America and beyond, and will have repercussions for women and bodily autonomy. If they can do this to a pregnant woman, I dare not think what they can do or will do to others and / both do next. This is frightening and maddening and has to be talked about and shouldn't happen again. I say this, but it's probably happening right now to some other black woman who isn't seen as human, but as a body to be experimented on, used and abused in the name of science. They did this to Adriana because they thought they could get away with it. Nobody cares about black women, right? Black women are disposable. Would they have done this to a white woman? I have to ask. Fuck off, I say. Get the fuck off our bodies. This could be the normalization of necromancy. Are you down with that?